Welcome to the Burning Pallets Podcast, sponsored by Texsource. Here's your host, Ryan Boland.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Ryan here at Burning Pallets Podcast with Mike Hoey. We're at the Impressions trade show in Long Beach. Joining us is another OG in the industry, Larry with Chromaline.
Hello, everyone.
He I'm going to say pretty much anybody that we interview, you've seen me grow up in this industry. So, I mean, I feel like I've been around here forever. Not as long as you, Bruce, Max, all these other guys. But yeah, another OG in the industry. Knows a lot of stuff, especially printers, which we come to you with printer questions all the time.
Right.
But tell us about the booth, what's going on with the show, new stuff in the industry.
Yeah, so far as Chromaline goes, for years we've done like inkjet film and ink printers and things like that, RIP software.
Yeah.
Sold a ton of that. Switched to the new age. Now we do a lot of the LTSs. We're acquired by Saudi.
Yeah.
A year and a half ago.
And that merger, I guess...
Yeah, the merger is fine. It's with Saudi. We act independently of Saudi, although we are one company.
Yep.
So it really works out for us. We have access to all of their
So do you sell
equipment.
some textile PV? Or is that's against
No.
your blood, isn't it?
No, well, the emulsion itself, we are staying separate.
Yeah.
So we're still Chromaline, they are still Saudi. And it just works out. And what we're looking for is to gain more market share, and that was part of the acquisition. So all it is that we don't compete against Saudi. Saudi doesn't compete against us, and we want to dominate the market.
Yeah. On the LTSs, I think Mike had a question on the LTS laser to screen. That's what that is, and we'll flash a little picture up on this podcast. But on laser screen, EOM, emulsion over mesh, any insight onto that? Because it's always a major question when it comes to laser to screen.
Well, the main thing that anytime I sell LTS, you must have an autocoder, because that's what it is. It's dependent on speed and
consistency and
EOM and power by the laser. And if you get outside of those parameters, you're going to end up being either under or overexposed. And like I say, some people say, "Oh, I coat very well." Well, that's okay. But if whoever coats is ever out, you're gonna have issues with that.
So I never thought about that. I mean, it should be common sense. I've never thought about those laser screens having to have a auto coder for it. I mean, that just never crossed my mind.
Yeah, and like I say, it's autocoders is really and truly a must if you're going to go LTS.
Right. I mean, it's common sense, but I just never thought about it. Right, Mike?
Yeah, for sure, because you have to lay it down perfect like you would only get with like a cap film or something like that. So
exactly.
Or your process is not going to be dialed in once you're at that level that you have an LTS. I mean, it's even smaller shops can benefit from a autocoder.
Right.
Just to take that out of the human error. Heavy hand, we all code a little bit different, and that's why sometimes our screens are a little bit underexposed and a little bit overexposed. But for the most part, in the hand coat world and that smaller manual shops, it's more forgiving. You can get away with that, but not at the laser where you're trying to get halftones and dial in something.
Oh shoot! They're already drinking over there. What? He's got a beer. It's almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah, that's they're pushing this on the show goers. They probably give them to them free, so they'll just be buying crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, but
that's insane.
I let off on with this episode about Larry being our OG for printers, Epson printers. Not laser to screen, but
inkjet printing.
Yep. You are our go-to before Mike came on. I would call you with tons of questions because Epson is always changing their printers.
Yes. Yeah, and that's something Chromaline struggled with, and that's really our inkjet systems and all that. We've had to progress, and each time Epson discontinues a printer, we end up having to. I hate to say struggle, but it just there's a lag time there for us to get the RIP software working with it, get our inks working with it, and the reason we have replacement inks for those inkjet printers is dye-based ink works so much better than pigmented inks, simply because of the particle size of it, and that's what we're looking for. And originally Epson had, you could choose dye or pigment based whenever you purchased a printer. But then they went away from that and they only offered pigmented. So we offer the dye based as a solution, so you get much better density and would say even better quality because you can.
It's a forever. It's been a pain point for us as well with printers. I mean, and then like I said, Mike finally came on, and now you get the brunt of all the questions. Don't you?
And the big one that always comes up is people are afraid because their printer warns them that these cartridges that you guys create aren't going to be seen as OEM, and it's going to shut their machine off, and they'll never be able to. Can you sort of tell me why that happens and what's the truth? When we get this?
It makes you want to buy more ink.
Well, the truth behind it is, Epson doesn't want us to sell third-party inks. They'd rather sell theirs, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But I would say, I've done this for 30 some odd years. And
which you guys are going to hear on every single podcast that the people we interview, they've been here for 30 plus years, which is why they're all OGs. But go ahead.
And I've never had Epson decline a warranty claim because of one of our inks. Their initial knee-jerk reaction will be, "Hey, that's not covered under warranty." But when it gets down to it, they have always covered the warranty, and it's just a year warranty with Epson anyway. So it's not. It's never been an issue.
Inkjet printers are the smaller ones are practically disposable these days. As cheap as they are.
Let's go to Staples.
I bought an Epson once just to do a TikTok on sublimation and never used it again. And I'm like, oh, maybe let me see if this print. It was all dried up. I just threw it in the trash.
Yep.
Honestly, it was terrible.
How much that cost? The printer.
It was like $125, something like that. And I got some sublimation inks. So, Larry, how long have you known Ryan? Was he? When you first met him, how big was this guy?
He was a kid.
He was a kid. So can you tell me anything about? See, I wasn't around. What was Ryan like as a kid growing up in the?
No, he just I think he wanted to learn the business. He
was more quiet
eager,
though.
Yeah, he was quieter, but like I say, he's eager to learn the business and to just get out there and be part of it.
I remember going to the trade shows in Charlotte because my dad wouldn't bring me to the ones across the U.S. I would go to the shows at 14, 15, 16 years old to get phone numbers, girls' phone numbers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say T-shirts.
No.
Dude.
I was already in T-shirt business, so I would go to get, I was young, so I would go to talk to girls and try and get their phone numbers and go to booth to booth and just, I don't know. Yeah.
That's pretty good, Ryan. That's savage.
But one of the questions I had, is there anything new with the Epson printers that are coming out? I know we switched to kind of like Canon style, but is Epson going to continue to be the main printer?
Well, the reason we switched to Canon was because we're looking for longevity of a printer, and Epson got to be where like the 1400, the 1430
kept switching.
It just was like every year and a half they were switching, and just like I say, then we have to go through and redo our rib, redo our inkjet cartridges, all of that.
Yeah.
So we're looking for one that'll last longer, and the Canon one seems to have done that
the Pixma, right, Larry?
Yeah. Yep. The Pixma 6820.
Yeah, the 60. I have that printer. That's pretty solid and available widely.
Yes, and like I say, another one like the larger format, the 24-inch, that'll also run 17-inch film. We did that 3270 for that thing had to be 8 years or so.
The thing's massive.
And then now they've discontinued that one, and so we go to the 3170, which we've got that one sorted out now, so we have RIP software for the 3170 and all that.
I don't want to throw them under the bus, but like Avian or any other ink manufacturer, here's another ink, here's another white, here's another white ink, here's another poly white.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a forever type of thing.
Right, and just like I say, that's the main reason we have our own line of private label inks to go into those printers. So it's a dependable ink. We've had it for, oh my goodness, I'm getting at least 25, 28 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that Pixma, since that seems to be the model that a lot of people are starting out with.
That's a Canon, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's got 4 cartridges, CMYK, and then it's got this like photo black. Does that photo black? It never actually dispenses anything. or I've always been confused about that.
Well,
I understand that we're putting black in all of the colors, cyan, magenta, yellow,
Right.
And then black, black with your dye base, right?
Yes.
What's happening with the big photo?
Well, it does pull from that one, and like I say, you just have to go through the settings to make sure that you are selected as all black and all the cartridges are checked and within the RIP. And that's one of the base functions of the RIP, that it allows you to pull from independent cartridges or multiple cartridges, or you can shut cartridges off. But if you try to print without the RIP, for one thing, you'll only print a grayscale. You can't print the individual halftone dot.
Yeah.
But it also helps you easily control density on the page, and it allows you to pull from multiple cartridges, because otherwise it would just be the photo black.
And to be fair, I have to say, because I play around with lots of RIPs because other people have them, and I try to figure them out. There's some RIPs that won't use that black cartridge at all.
Right.
So your RIP has the ability to use the big.
Because initially that's kind of what we were looking for, was to not even have to do anything extra and just pull from that large, the XL cartridge.
Yeah.
But it would not do it, so we had to dive deeper in, or the RIP company had to dive deeper into that so that it would. And it ended up just easier for us to pull from all the cartridges and make that part of it.
And that should be a lesson to the other RIP companies out there that aren't utilizing that like why have this big XL cartridge if you're not going to get to use it?
Right. Yeah, because like I say, traditionally whenever you first do it, it'll only pull from that smaller photo plate.
Yeah.
Why? So the printer pulls equally from each cartridge to get simultaneously, right? Or does it pull from one cartridge?
No, it pulls from all of them pretty much simultaneously. There's some people complain, and it really turns into printer specific, because I've had a few cases where someone said, hey, I always run out of whatever, these 4 cartridges, and I have this one that still has, a quarter left. And I'm just...
Throw it away, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of it. It's a function of the printer.
Yeah.
The RIP is doing what it should, but there's just something with the printer that's allowing it to pull a little less.
And people just fail to realize the fact that you can make these film positives for as cheap as it is these days compared to what it used to be. They can't appreciate that you can just throw away a little ink in a cartridge, and it's nothing in the whole scheme of things.
That needs to be probably spoken more on.
Yeah.
Because we do have a lot of questions all the time about Epson printers and the cartridges and the inks. Why doesn't a manufacturer, Chromaline or whoever sells these printers, or in the cartridges, not just make their own Chinese printer with one cartridge only?
Yeah. Figure it out.
Just use the one cartridge and not have multiple cartridges.
Like Screen Printers Edition, right? They could collaborate with Canon.
Because years ago we had talked with Epson about that and looking at doing it, and they were like, how many thousands of printers are you going to place the order for in order to do this? And so it just turns out easier to go with what they do. And just like I say, the latest printer, that 3170 that we're doing, it doesn't take cartridges anymore. It's just like the one you see with Shaq on TV. So you have the bottle of ink that you can charge the reservoirs with. So it's getting much better.
This is probably a dumb question because I'm not an artwork guy.
Me neither. Yep.
Mike is an artwork guy. Why can't you just get a printer, just like I was talking about, just a Chinese printer somewhere off, the one cartridge, and the RIP without RIP software? Just have it already built into this whole Adobe printer and not have the RIP software in the middle.
There's ways to get around that. You can do a poor man's PostScript. You can rip your dots in Photoshop, but it's a lot longer workflow.
Okay.
So if you're trying to save time, that's why people buy PostScript rips, because you can keep your full color design in Illustrator, but output them as black and white channels. So it's a lot more convenient. But there's a lot of people starting out that don't do the RIP thing, and that's where I help them get through until they get to the point where they're like, yeah, it's worth the investment. And then that puts them in a position where their workflow is a lot more efficient. So that's kind of where, that is as far as that goes.
But also you have to take the printer now, pull out the CMYK that's in it, toss it away, and then put the all black in.
Well, you don't even put the original. If you're smart, you'll never put the original cartridges in there.
I thought they already come in.
No.
Well, they used to.
They come in the package,
They come
not in
in
the
it-
printer.
The CMYK.
Yep.
Yeah, they
Okay.
come separate. You gotta, and so you. Well, we had that customer where, like, when I did the Pixman, I put in Larry's cartridges. I had my CMYK, and we had a customer call and need those in an emergency, and I'm like, well, I have some right here if you know. So, but yeah, that's the first trick is never do that. And if you go all black on this, like a lot of printers do, don't ever think you're going to print color out of that machine ever again. You've made a commitment.
We've had questions before. Yeah, can I put this?
We've made the commitment.
Yeah, because I don't get that question much anymore. But years ago, I would always get that someone would say, "Hey, we'll print color proofs on this. Maybe we're going to do that," and they would always start with the larger printer specifically. But then they would put the colors in there and just run it off a single black. But then they never ever printed color on.
And that brings me to the chips that are on there that can get damaged in shipping or what manufacturers. So that causes a lot of problems too.
Sometimes, and just like you say, sometimes a chip gets zapped, static, whatever, and we go through phases. And luckily here lately, we've had no issues with that sort of thing.
Yeah, and the chip is designed so that you can't. The printer has to know, like, this is a new cartridge.
Fake it out, yeah.
Yeah, it's to fake it out. And I don't know why these big companies aren't playing ball with the world, and they're
Again,
trying to...
That's why I'm saying, why can't we get a printer for screen printer specific with the black cartridge, no chip, just ink, just throw the printer up on the table, it's already ready to go.
I think let's get on Alibaba after this podcast, and we will figure this out, and we will make a screen printers edition inkjet printer that's got the right sizing, and we'll use Larry's RIP, and we will solve this problem for the industry.
I hear another trip coming up.
Yeah, Ali, you're going to India, right? So maybe while you're there, you could you could do a little research. But how long are you going to be there?
We're going to be there for a week.
Okay.
But Burning Pallets Podcast, we prepped you to come on here, but I'm assuming you understand the name of Burning Pallets Podcast as a screen printer.
Yes, I know what burning pallets smells like. Yes.
Have you burned any in the past?
In the past, everyone has burned a pallet if they've ever been in screen printing.
Yes. So when this was Ryan came up with the burn.
No, I did not. I think that was Adam.
That was me.
Adam.
Adam. Cinderella story.
But I did learn my lesson. If you should ever smell something like that, go find it.
We burned one not too long ago.
Ryan tried to burn one.
Something.
He tried to burn one in our Christmas series, printing oddball stuff. Now, and there's a big difference. If you burn a wooden pallet, yeah, it smells. But if you burn a rubber top aluminum pallet, it is the god-awfulest smell. You just have to leave and come back like 6 months later. I mean, that's how bad. Larry has no idea that I have a question for you.
All right, so let me prep him. Mike decided to make a list of crazy questions.
Okay, sweet.
He said crazy.
And they are ridiculous, but they're like psychological. I don't know, but I'll let him throw it at you. We'll see how it goes. I don't understand them, and so he asked me a couple, and I just looked at him and just said, I don't know.
Maybe we should be afraid if I do understand them.
Yeah, Larry, Bruce was the first one to get one from my list, and I have to tell you, I was shocked. Were you shocked? He knocked it out of the park. I thought he was just going to laugh, throw his headset off, and
that's what I did. I mean, that's really.
So Chromaline has emulsion, correctly?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just wanted to preface that because the word is in this question. So, Larry, here you go. How does the concept of emulsion in screen printing prompt us to examine the protective layers we build around our vulnerabilities?
Yes,
they
it encapsulates and shields you from all those vulnerabilities.
Yeah, it hardens you in your life.
Yes, that too.
With emulsion, you harden and emulsion,
and leaves you open to exposure.
Yes, that too.
Tag team ever. So that's his crazy questions. He's put together like a list of 30 of these. Actually, he asked AI. He went to the AI bot and typed that in. So, but yeah, Larry, appreciate you coming on the podcast with us. I know you got a busy show. Long Beach is packed out. There's tons of people walking by us. We've only seen one group drinking so far, and it's 11:05 a.m. on the first day, but that's cool.
Right.
I say people come to California to have fun and go to vacation, but appreciate you coming on the podcast, taking some time with us, and
absolutely.
we will see you back in Charlotte.
You better believe it.
All right. Thank you, guys.